Not supported by.
Not supported. And I love the idea that you could have a neurodivergent household, whoever in that neurodiverse household, where everyone has their own sensory zones in their rooms. And again, privilege. But like someone doesn't like the lights bright. Someone wants it to smell like lavender. Someone else wants it to have music all the time. If we know we're neurodivergent, or we know our kids are neurodivergent, if we know there's neurodivergence in the family, typically what happens is the parents, if they don't know they're neurodivergent, they're trying to meet their own needs any way they can, but they're not seeing it as an example of what their kids might experience in different ways. So it might be that they meet their own needs at the sacrifice of what their kids' needs are, say sensory needs, or vice versa. They completely just do what their kids need and they're not meeting their own needs because they don't know what they are. And so I do, my idyllic future vision, this idea of neurodiverse households where we all have safe foods, we all have sensory input we need, we all, it's a safe space where we also go out and advocate to the broader world. And that's, I think, we're sort of the early generations of that happening. We're not just going and being like, this one family member gets diagnosed and no one else ever speaks of it. We are getting whole families coming in and being like, I sat there and watched that assessment for my child and I could answer all of those questions similarly, and being really courageous to be like, let's do this together. Let's explore this together. I mean, there are risks. Like I should say, sorry, it's such a late in the podcast to say this, but, if you do get a formal diagnosis, you will face some discrimination. So you will be seen a social burden in some countries if you want a visa. You may have limitations around sperm donation and IVF access. You may be asked about pre-existing things for health insurance. They don't word it that well, so you can probably get away with saying, no, I don't have a brain disorder, because it's not technically a brain disorder, it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. But again, not sure. Don't listen to this, health insurers. There are and it could get worse, and we're seeing that. And so another reason for self-diagnosis, apart from everything else, you need the supports, and absolutely we need to keep dismantling the ableist systems. But if you don't, the self-identifying, you are reducing some of the risks of discrimination that still exist. A few years ago, Vic Rhodes said everyone who's autistic has to resit their license regardless of their driving history. And they got enough backlash that they pulled it. But stuff like that can just happen. And so it's genuinely scary. So even on this being on a podcast saying I'm neurodivergent, I'm saying it as a self-identifying person because that doesn't require me to, and that's a privilege. It doesn't require me to put it on a future visa or health insurance application.
It's really it's a really sobering part of the conversation that there are real implications.
We're living in an ableist world, in a neuronormative world, absolutely. And the risks around distress and thoughts around dying and actions and people choosing to end their life in neuronormative ableist society, it's really high. It's really, really high in the autistic community and the neurodivergent community. And so the effects are real. And I do want to be talking, if clients are having die thoughts, or what we'd say suicidal ideation in the sort of medical term.
What do you call it? Die thoughts?
Die thoughts is from narrative therapy. Oh. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Newman. I can check. David Newman. But I like the symbolic description of death song, singing our death song. Sometimes we need to sing our death song. And that's the idea that there's a whole bunch of reasons people might sing their death song. Might be because they're in physical pain, might be because they feel lonely, might be because it kind of helps jolt them back into what they're doing, gives them a bit of a shock. It might be because it lets them know they're in control, that at the end of the day they have something that's in their control. There are a lot of reasons to sing our death song. And what I hope is that they reveal a double story of what people want, what they're missing, what they care about. Death song is a testimony to what they want to be different. And so I would encourage people to reduce stigma around that and have opportunities to talk about it, but also to know that there's a second story there to be explored, and that support can look at what it is that's calling for change and make it be a symbolic song and not be about the literal body.
What's the second story? How would you describe that?
I think it's different for everyone. So maybe death song is a testimony to I'm exhausted And the idea of a bit of peace and quiet sounds really nice right now. And the only way I think I'm allowed it is by ending my life. Well, there's a second story there of rest and stopping. And maybe we could try that a whole bunch of other ways and see if it's possible, so that doesn't have to be the only way.
It's really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's something so compassionate and calm and beautiful about acknowledging that somebody might be singing their death song and that that's okay, and it's indicating something really, really important.
Really
so
important.
I think for so long we've just made suicide wrong, bad. No, oh no.
Yeah, committed. You commit suicide
like
as if
a
it's
crime,
illegal, yeah.
Which, I mean, it was.
And still religiously in some, you know. But yeah, that added stigma, and I don't think shame helps anything. So if we can, just keep working on questioning, interrogating the stigma around it, and making it more okay to talk about, and also seeing it as like, okay, your brain is trying to bring something to you, same as a nightmare. Okay, you're singing your death song. What's being alerted here? What's missing? Yeah. What are we longing for?
In my language, like, what part of you is singing the death song? What's it need? What's it want?
Yeah. So, yes, I think good to touch on in the podcast just generally because it is an impact for the neurodivergent community, particularly at all sorts of different intersections of oppression. And, maybe that terminology is something people can call on just in their own ways as they need to, or in their own practices.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's been such an interesting and illuminating conversation for me. I've said already, but I just really feel your compassion and your curiosity and your love of neurodivergence, actually, and your understanding of the challenges of it.
Thank you.
And I can imagine how people that visit you, as you say, could, maybe be able to find some ease through their work with you. If this conversation resonated with you, hit subscribe and click the link below to download the Source app. It's free to get started and helps you find a therapist who truly fits fast.